The Utah Jazz and LA Clippers are facing off in the second round of the 2021 NBA playoffs. On one side, you've got the star power of Los Angeles going against the disciplined, offensive and defensive juggernaut that is the Utah Jazz. In today's video, I'm previewing the series and giving you my prediction for who will win it. Jazz and Clippers, Clippers and Jazz. You know, the NBA had to have an LA team in this one. Of course, if Kristaps Porzingis had actually played like a 7'3 unicorn should have played, then maybe we'd be having a different conversation right about now. But hey, at least we have one small market team in the Utah Jazz still in the playoffs. Full disclosure, they are who I want to win it all, but that isn't going to cloud my analysis here. Guys, so glad you could join me on today's video. My name is Troy, and this is the Half Court Report YouTube channel. Make sure you drop a like on this video. It really helps out the channel, and it tells YouTube to show this content to more people. And if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have those notification bells turned on. You don't want to miss any of the videos, any of the content I have coming out. I am previewing every single playoff matchup all the way through the NBA Finals. And you know what? Thrive Fantasy wants to make sure you're still getting your fantasy fix, even through the NBA playoffs. I'm a big fan of these guys. With Thrive, you can eliminate the countless hours of research and focus on only the top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. So here's how this works. You choose your available player props to build your lineup. Each prop is assigned a fantasy value for both the over and the under based on how likely it is to hit. And if you do hit the most props and rack up the most points, you're going to win a share of the prize pool. Thrive has over $20,000 guaranteed in prizes weekly. And get this, they have awarded over $4 million in prizes. All you have to do is use promo code HCR when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match of up to $50 on your first deposit. So download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or the Play Store, or you can also visit their website at thrivefantasy.com. And I've got all this information in the description of this video. Definitely check them out. Let's begin with the Utah Jazz. They dispatched the young and hungry Memphis Grizzlies in 5 games. It was a good tune-up, but now the real challenge begins, and a couple big questions that stick out to me. Will their amazing three-point shooting continue into this series versus the Clippers? And what will be the status of Mike Conley? Conley is averaging 20 points, over 10 assists, and almost 5 rebounds while shooting 44% from the floor and 53% from 3 so far in the playoffs. But toward the end of the first round series against Memphis, he went down with a hamstring injury. So will he be at full strength against the Clippers, and how effective will he be? Then you've got Donovan Mitchell, Spida Mitchell himself. This guy can do it all. Rebound, score, hit the three, dish the ball. Rudy Gobert has the size, the speed, awesome defensive anchor for this Utah team. Just throw the ball up and he's going to get a lob. He is a monster out there setting the screens, getting guys open. And as I mentioned before, he's going to have those teammates that can shoot the three-pointer and odds are make that three-pointer. Bogdanovic, always a threat to go off. He's always a threat to light it up from 3. Coming off the bench, you've got Filipino super sub Philippines. Are you listening? Jordan Clarkson. Since Clarkson came over in that trade from Cleveland last year, he has really been doing well for this Utah team. Signing him this offseason was a definite priority. I'm glad they did it. Clarkson is second place on the Jazz team in scoring. Then you have Joe Ingles. You have Derek Favors. I think these guys would be starting on a lot of teams. When you add those guys to the 5 starters you have, you know, conceivably you could have like 6, 7, 8 guys that should be starting on other teams. So when you have your, 8 starters, that really bodes well for your offense, for your defense, and just doing really well this season, advancing into the playoffs. But not if the Clippers have anything to say about it. They came alive and knocked off the Mavericks for a second straight year. They want to make the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history, if you can believe it. Let's go through the Clippers roster. They bring the star power in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. What can you say about Kawhi? He can play make. He can score. He'll defend you like a man possessed. And Paul George is the perfect second option for this team. He can take over a game anytime as well, and each player has the potential to shoot it from lights out from behind the three-point line. In the backcourt, you've got the defense of Patrick Beverley, who I would nominate to yell at a first grader for taking too long at the skee ball game at a Dave & Buster's. Pat Bev gives you the defense, then Reggie Jackson compliments him on the offensive end. And what a great first-round series RJ had. Rajon Rondo was picked up at the trade deadline, and the playoffs bring something out of Rajon Rondo that the regular season just can't do. When he's in the game, he takes pressure off Kawhi, and Paul George helps initiate that offense. And his three-point shooting is, dare I say, reliable sometimes as well. Let's not forget Luke Kennard of the Crispy Flakes All-Stars, and if Tyronn Lue can actually remember his name, Kennard can get you some buckets as well, at least if you're in a Game 7. Going down the roster in the front court, you've got Marcus Morris, who will give you some toughness, pretty strong defense, and some outside shooting. Serge Ibaka is out right now with back spasms, but he brings championship experience along with a solid inside-outside game. DeMarcus Cousins, who's on like his 20th team in the last 3 years, can give you that inside presence, rebounding, and a couple technical fouls a game if you get in a pinch. Then Ivica Zubac is like the only dude on this team who doesn't shoot threes, but he'll roll to the rim, get some blocks, get some boards, and just be a tall guy you can put under the basket. And don't forget Nicholas Batum doing Nick Batum things that only Nick Batum can do. The Clippers' game plan is going to be shooting it from deep, using that lockdown defense, and maximizing the play of their stars. And yeah, part of their game plan is going to be slowing down the scoring prowess of Donovan Mitchell. So who's the pick? The Jazz beat the Clippers in 2 out of the team's 3 meetings this season. The Clippers don't have someone who can match up with Gobert, especially with Serge and his back spasms. Utilizing the pick and roll is going to be big for the Utah Jazz this series. And with excellent perimeter defenders in Leonard and PG, the Jazz might look to score more on the inside than they would have against a different team. But one thing the Jazz don't have, and I hate to say this, I could see the refs determining at least one game from this series. Because whether you want to admit it or not, the big market teams get the more favorable calls from the referees. So for my pick, I hope I'm wrong because I love small market teams, but my prediction is the Clippers knocking out Utah in 7 games. Hey, I need you to let me know in the comments who you have winning this series. Drop your predictions down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like to help support the channel. And make sure you are subbed up for new NBA videos several times a week. Make sure to check out the boxes on the screen for more NBA content just like this. My name is Troy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on the Half Court Report.